Good night and welcome to Teleislas News with the most relevant and important information of the day. We begin in contact with Governor Everett Hawkins-Green, who connected with us to talk about the events that happened in the last days after the torrential rain. Governor, good night. I start by asking you, what is the current status of the rainwater evacuation system that the department has in face of the forecast of rain through the weekend?
According to EDM reports, it states that this tropical wave will be advancing until Saturday. For tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, heavy rainfall is expected. So we require the cleaning of the gutters of the houses. Do not throw garbage in the sewer or drainage. That will help with the water to evacuate quickly. The pumping stations that the department has are working normally. We have a problem in Serie that is being solved with some spare parts to optimize the pumping in that neighborhood. It is important to ask young people who like to bathe in the rain that thunderstorms are also expected, so it is essential that they are not exposed.
Governor, many neighborhoods were flooded because of the lack of a storm sewage system. We know that an initiation was signed to start this project, which was done in the presence of President Duque and former Minister of Housing Jonathan Malagon. Will we have in some time that sewage on the island?
I want to state that the storm sewer contract was signed with the national government with resources from the nation for 50,000 million pesos. These resources were made in agreement with FINDETER and are in the design and structuring stage of the project. It must be said that the execution of this project will not begin until the purchase of some land that emerged from this design stage is made. Now we are advancing all the steps so that the royalty resources we can buy those lots to continue with the project.
We thank Governor Everett Hawkins-Green for joining us tonight on Teleislas regarding the situation of the island due to heavy rains registered yesterday. As we continue with the news, Congressman Jorge Mendez clarified through his social networks that among his efforts of previous years was the agreement to begin the contract for the District 4 sewerage system works. Through a phone call, the representative explained.
On June 18 of 2021, the commencement of the Act of Sewerage for the District 4 was signed. In this regard, Congressman Jorge Mendez said,
Yes, what this publication is alluding to is that among the commitments made by Jorge Mendez since he arrived at the Congress of the Republic is precisely to seek that the national government finance the resources that are required for the storm sewage project of District 4 initially, since year after year families suffer the effects of winter and lose their belongings. We have achieved this. Last year we managed to get the national government to approve and finance this project for more than 50,000 million pesos.
Taking into account that the progress of this project has not been much and that it is a project that has a term of 30 months, 6 months for study and 24 months of execution, which so far have not been evidenced, the representative said that he has requested an audience with the Minister of Housing.
Therefore, a couple of weeks ago, with the company of some presidents of the community action boards, we have asked the Minister of Housing to grant us an audience, the new Minister of Housing to inform the community of the islands on the status of the execution of this project, what percentage of execution it has, what are the resources that have been delivered in advance, and what are the deadlines so that the community can begin to see this dream come true and especially to end the floods.
And in the sector of St. Louis, a male citizen was run over while crossing one of the streets in the area by a motorcycle. According to the first known information about the event, the man was taken to the departmental hospital.
In the sector of St. Louis, a male citizen was run over while crossing on the streets in the area by a motorcycle. According to the first known information about the event, the man was taken to the departmental hospital.
The patient was admitted at approximately 12:30 noon with severe cranioencephalic trauma. The patient was admitted to the institution without vital signs. So he was transferred to the morgue and the competent authorities were called for the legal procedures of forensic medicine.
The authorities are currently clarifying the facts behind this tragic incident as well as the identification of the persons involved in the incident.
The Agustin Codazzi Geographic Institute announced that the entire insular area has been mapped to scale, which will allow for analyzing the state of the island.
The Agustin Codazzi Geographic Institute and the Colombian Air Force announced that the island of San Andres already has basic cartography products such as digital terrain models with a high level of detail and vector basis. These are maps of the soil layers that allow analyzing the spatial distribution and elevation of the relief of the territory, made with satellite photographs that present and allow in great detail the characteristics of streets, houses, and forests and buildings, made up of lines coordinates that provide geographical context and reference details. This tool will be very useful for the realization of the land use plan issues such as risk management, inventory of natural resources, urban planning, and construction of public policies. Citizens who wish to know these images of the department should enter the web portal www.colombiaenmapa.gov.co.
The fire department responds to the call of the community due to the concern about some trees that were in danger of falling after the last rains that have occurred in the department.
As a preventive measure and in response to the concern of different communities of the island due to the heavy rains that have occurred on the island, the fire department performed tree cutting and trimming.
In recent hours, the fire department has had to respond to multiple calls to address issues that have to do with fallen trees due to the recent heavy rains that have occurred in the last 48 hours. Consequently, the trees have caused obstructions in public roads, so the respective cutting and trimming have been done to recover the space.
With these cuttings and trimmings, the fire department hopes to minimize the damage that could occur as a result of these trees falling due to the constant rains and breezes that are occurring in the island.
Today, the coordinator of environmental education of the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, Dr. Fanny Cortez Canto, met with the Secretary of Education of the department and the Director of Coralina to follow up on strengthening of environmental education in the Archipelago Department.
The agenda includes the contextualization of the methodological route for the construction of the departmental environmental education policy and the strengthening of the departmental environmental education and the construction of tools for the strengthening of environmental education in the archipelago. They also participate in the socialization of the National Environmental Education Policy for the resignification of the school environmental projects PRAE, and also share with the members of the Departmental Environmental Education Committee for the resignification of the National Environmental Education Policy and the construction of departmental environmental education.
On May 19, a memorial service will be held in memory of Reverend George May Mitchell, who died in Houston. May Mitchell family and the religious community of the First Baptist Church invite the community in general and those who wish to join them in ceremony to be held at 7 p.m. at the First Baptist Church on the Hill. May his soul rest in peace. This time we continue with Victor Fusal Banal, the sport news of the department.
Hello, here are the best sports of the islands. A day of integration, recreation, and sport activities in the Elsibar sector, which seeks to mitigate domestic violence. In honor of a family day, the departmental government, through the different secretariats and with the support of other entities, took to the Elsibar sector with tag sport and recreational activities, including traditional rice games for children and young people in the sector of the southern part of the island, seeking to mitigate domestic violence. We talked to Janet Howard, who told us more details.
The island of San Andres having a high rate in domestic violence, and we want to extend to the community, not only this community of Elsibar where we are in this morning, but also the different community, to give them a different concept that we need as parents to unite with our children there. We have to use the sport, games, go back to our traditional and culture, what we used to play with our children there. We have to give time to our children there, and that is what to going to unite more parents and children. We have to look the way to change those thinking what we have maybe of hitting the children, humiliating, is where we educate. We cannot educate that kind of way. Today we are with different secretaries there, like sport, culture, education, health, takes different secretaries. Them are here to making present in the community. We giving out water. We also have the present of the Fuerza area that they too that have activities or action in prevention and prevention is today in the community.
It is very good to see the Sports Secretariat through the sport programs and activities integrating with other secretariats taking recreational sports and traditional activities of the island culture to different sectors of the archipelago. An outstanding work of the Flower Hill School in the Superate Games that leave the teachers of the educational very satisfied. The island team faced the team from Santander, achieving second place and the silver medal for the island department in the Superate Inter-School Basketball Games at the national level. This was stated by the rector of the school, Nancy Caballero.
La verdad que me siento muy orgullosa de vivir.
The truth is that I feel very proud to lead this institution, given that it is the one that is leading the ranking of the institutions. My duty is to support all the talents that we discover in the students, especially in terms of the discipline of sports. The children have many skills and abilities, especially in basketball, the strongest sport here in the institution. And as all teachers, the teaching staff, the directors, we support this type of activities, which helps. Our students have represented very well the institution and the department at national level. We obtained second place in the basketball final. We got a silver medal, and it is an institutional pride to have students with this kind of talent.
One of the players of the team, Giovanni Watson, talked about his experience.
We on the department Manizales, they play basketball. Well, the final down in Santander, and my experience that it was good. We have to practice more and show more strength and play more the basketball and kids and distance speed.
An important participation in the inter-school basketball tournament at the national level, which should continue its process for the benefit of the sport of basketball in the archipelago, as mentioned by Nancy Caballero. And this will be all in sports for tonight. We will see you on another broadcast. We continue with that.